Welcome to the first episode of All Veil Unveiled.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
I'm excited.
First, congratulations are in order because you have reached your goal for bookings this year.
Yes.
Thank you. You're my bestie, but I've always known that you're like the most organized person in the world. So this is perfect for you, and I'm so excited that you reached your goal.
Thank you. Allveil definitely helped me get there.
I mean, that's what we're here for, you know? That's what we kind of do. So
yeah, exactly.
I got a testimonial from you early in Allveil. So it was really nice to see you send me another text last night saying that you got something else in the works. So I'm really excited for you. Can't wait for the content. Can't wait for you to add more content. When's your first date coming up for 2026?
I think the second weekend in June.
Oh, nice. So you still got like a few months.
Yes, which obviously I'll do some outreach to some of those brides leading up to their wedding. So it definitely starts before the wedding day. So we're definitely about to get busy.
You also offer day of and planning.
Yes. So far, all of my brides have just been day of coordination. But with that, I will reach out a month, if not sooner than that, prior to the wedding, just to make sure. I like to call them all the small things, make sure all the small things are in order and we're not forgetting anything.
All the small things. That sounds like a album. Like
that is a song.
Oh yeah. Should we? All the
small things.
That was really beautiful. Thank you. The best part about planning with Emma is she gives you the coolest binder ever. If you do full planning and not day of coordinating. And first off, when Emma was planning her wedding, she had this huge binder and it was insane. And it was like people were requesting for the binder. And it was just like absolutely anything you could possibly think of. Emma thought about it 3 times and had it in this binder for everything. And now brides who book with you have access to it. So it's like the coolest thing ever. So I love Emma's binder.
A lot of times when I'm going through the rehearsal day with brides, you know, I've got everything printed out, you know, all the vendor contact information, the layout, whatever that is. It's inevitable that there's going to be something that I need to write down.
Yeah.
That's not included in that binder. Maybe just a special note of, you know, now that the bride is in the venue, they want something a certain way that isn't in the binder. I can just quickly jot that down, and my assistant will have access to it too. So there's 2 sets of eyes that are going to know really down to the nitty gritty what's going on.
What's one thing you wish every bride knew before planning a wedding?
I mean, it sounds cliche, but I try to remind all of my brides that it is inevitable that something will go wrong.
That's what I was going to say.
And not in like the worst way possible.
That would be your answer.
Not in the worst way possible, but there's gonna be things that are just simply out of your control, whether it's the weather or, for example, my own wedding day, there was this huge fountain that it just wasn't working that day. And we had to pivot, and that was okay. It was fine, but it's inevitable that there's going to be something, no matter the amount of planning that you do, that just doesn't go exactly as you expected. So I try to just, you know, have my brides keep an open mind. Yes, it helps to have a positive attitude, have an open mind. You know, it's really, really good to be on top of things and to plan as best as you can, but to go into it with that flexibility that there might be something that happens that you didn't necessarily plan for, and that's just bound to happen. I mean, that's true with our day-to-day lives. There's things, you know, every single day that go wrong or don't go as we wish, and you have to pivot.
Any perfect day, you ain't gonna have it.
Exactly.
That was gonna happen. So
your wedding day is not any different, and that's okay. That's good.
Not perfect answer, because that was also my answer, and I figured that would be your answer too. What is one thing you see brides over stress about?
I mean, not necessarily stress, but I just have seen some brides get really, I don't know if overwhelmed is the right word, but just really invested in making everyone around them happy on their wedding day. And they forget about themselves, or they put themselves on the back burner. I feel like we all have a tendency to do that in general, especially if you're a real people pleaser. I know I am. And so I definitely see that sometimes with some brides, not all brides, but they just are trying to make everybody else happy and they forget about themselves and what they want the day to look like, especially in the heat of the moment when things are really, crunch time is here. It's about time to walk down the aisle. But honestly, that's one of the really important reasons to have a coordinator. Or
And focus on you, and the coordinator can focus on all the other people.
Exactly. Even if it's, an extra family member or whoever, I personally really like somebody that's not in the family, because then if family's giving you problems, then you can just send your coordinator to kind of handle those situations. That way you're not stressing about any of it. But that's one of the big things that I see for sure.
This is going to be a question for you and for me, just because I'm selfish and I want to answer it too. But what is one trend you are loving right now?
Okay, so you probably, I don't know if you're going to like this answer or not, but it's not a specific trend. It's not like one single thing. I just really love the idea that all these modern brides are just, they're not necessarily sticking to the status quo when it comes to traditional weddings. They're very much like going into their wedding planning process and being very intentional about what they choose to include or not include in their wedding day. And I personally love that because it just makes it feel like such an intentional day that feels like that couple. I think that there's obviously brides that are still very traditional brides. And when they choose, the traditional things, it still feels very them and it feels very special still because that's who they are at their core and that's who they are as a couple. Yeah. But I do love, I just love when couples kind of make it their own, which is the point, like it's celebrating their love and their story. And so that's probably my favorite thing that I'm seeing is they're really making it feel like their true selves on their wedding day. They're not, changing to a trend. They're really sticking to who they are. And it just makes it feel so much more special. I'm curious what yours is.
Oh, well, so I've been seeing, I'm not going to say a lot because I've only seen it like twice. But I've been seeing people, instead of doing like conventional like table setups or chairs, using like vintage cabinetry or like vintage tables to set their cakes on, and having like drawers and using like these wooden cabinets you would find at like antique stores, and making it like super chic and colorful with different candlesticks or different florals and having their cake on there. And I'm obsessed with it. It like reminds me of like a little, like fairy garden where, you would have just like random like antique furniture places with the flowers and the florals. So that's my favorite trend going on.
Yeah. I think so cute. I think everyone's getting so creative with, the seating and the furniture and the rentals. It's not, I hate to say cookie cutter because that sounds negative, but like, I feel like for the longest time you could only pick from like 2 chairs.
Exactly.
Table, and I feel like people are, like I said earlier, just kind of trying to see what feels more them.
Well, and I see too that, trends are a lot of times subconscious too. So we're seeing a rise in antiquing and thrifting and secondhand. And I think that that's, almost any style or like trend in that way is going to pour into weddings as well. What's one vendor, besides planning, of course, that in your mind is a no skip, non-negotiable?
I think for me, a non-negotiable is a photographer. I mean, you can argue, you don't need this vendor, this, whatever. You're going to want pictures of your wedding day. You're going to want them. And you may not want them right now, but I feel like, down the road, when memories start to fade, you're going to want to be able to look back at those pictures from your wedding day. Yeah. I don't see any way around that. And it could be a family member with a camera or the highest end photographer you can find. Like, I just highly recommend, even if it's just you and your fiance eloping somewhere, just having some way to capture that moment. Because it's never going to happen again. I think it's so special. And however you decide to capture that with any photographer, if it's a self-timer camera, whatever it is, I just feel like it's a non-negotiable to have pictures on your wedding day.
I couldn't agree more. No matter what the budget is, no matter if you just rent a camera for a day, I hate to be like this, but it's true. The mind fades. So having photos of your wedding days really, in 30 years, going to be the best way to remember that day, So I agree. My answer too. What's your favorite moment of a wedding day?
There's a lot of special moments in a wedding. I mean, that's why I'm in the business. I love weddings. They're special to me. But as a coordinator, my favorite part so far is, we've let the bride down the aisle. They're getting married. It's the ceremony. They start to make their way back. And it's just pure joy in that moment. Just pure, they're so excited. They just got married. They just sealed it with a kiss. Like, they're celebrating with their family. Everyone's cheering them on. They're dipping at the end of the aisle. It's just so special. And then me and my assistant, we, open the doors back up or open the curtain back up and bring them back in. And then this is my actual favorite part. Then it's just the couple and it's just them and it hits them and they're like, we're married. It's inevitable. They're always like, we're married. And I just think it is the sweetest, 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 most intimate moment. And I'm always so honored that, we try to obviously stay out of the way, but it's always so special to witness that because it's just so pure, like it's just so sweet and so pure. And, oftentimes we're kind of helping them hurry away to have a moment to themselves and, before they start getting bombarded with people, or if they want to do a welcome line, we're getting them into place, whatever that is. But I just feel like that moment, when we let them back in and it's just them two for just a second of the day, it is so special.
I did not think of that because I'm not a wedding planner, but you're so right.
It's really precious.
Oh, what a good answer. You're so right. That is the best part. I did the same thing. You're right. It is inevitable. It's exactly what
I mean, you look back when you look through wedding pictures, there's always going to be a picture from the photographer of them coming back down the aisle. Like, look at your pictures, look at mine, look at our sisters. I mean, it is really sweet.
My photo is of me and Caleb like screaming at you because you came back out there. And so that's my photo was you were the first one to come back and it was me and Caleb going.
It's so sweet. It's so fun.
Oh. Yeah, that is a good answer. Good job, Em. Well, thanks for doing this for me. This was such a good time. Amazing, perfect first guest. So, yeah, I love you. You're the best. And I'm excited to put it out. So Emma Anderson, wedding planning and coordinating. You can find her on allveil.com. And thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.